Just when it felt like things couldn't get any more tense inside the Indiana Fever locker room, Sophie Cunningham has confirmed what fans have been suspecting for weeks now. The locker room is fractured, and perhaps most shocking of all, Clark is being left completely alone. This isn't just another rumor floating around the WNBA community. This comes straight from a player who's been around long enough to know when something's not right. Sophie didn't mince words. She said what many were too afraid to say out loud. The Indiana Fever aren't just struggling on the court, they're breaking apart behind closed doors. And Caitlin Clark is at the center of the chaos. Caitlin Clark, arguably the most hyped rookie in WNBA history, came into the league with a target on her back. Expectations were sky high. From sold-out arenas to record-breaking TV ratings, the entire sports world had their eyes locked on her. But while the world celebrated her arrival, something far less welcoming was happening behind the scenes. Instead of being embraced as a teammate, Clark has faced cold shoulders, passive-aggressive behavior, and, as Sophie now confirms, outright isolation from some of her fellow players. Sophie Cunningham, who has never been shy about speaking her mind, recently revealed in a private post-practice conversation that the tension inside the Fever locker room is real and it's deep. She noted that players are frustrated, cliques have formed, and the unity that a team needs to thrive simply doesn't exist right now. She even went as far as to say that Caitlin is being left to navigate the WNBA jungle on her own, with very little support from the veterans who should be guiding her. That's a bombshell. Think about it. Your franchises know one pick, the most high-profile athlete in the league, being left out in the cold by her own team. It's not just about chemistry. At this point, it's about culture. And it appears that the culture inside the Indiana Fever locker room is broken. There have been signs, from awkward body language during games to post-game press conferences where players seem hesitant to mention Clark's name. The clues were always there. And now that Sophie has spoken out, those signs are being re-examined under a much sharper lens. Cunningham didn't specify exactly which teammates were involved, but she strongly hinted that some veterans haven't done enough to bring Caitlin into the fold. Instead, they've distanced themselves intentionally or not and created an environment where Clark is forced to rely solely on her own resilience. What's even more concerning is that this kind of locker room disconnection can have serious ripple effects. When a team isn't united, performance suffers. And when the locker room drama makes headlines more than the win column does, the entire franchise takes a hit. Fans have noticed it too. Social media has been flooded with posts questioning why Caitlin looks frustrated, why she's often left to speak to the media alone, and why it feels like the rest of the team isn't rallying behind her. Sophie's revelation didn't come out of nowhere. She's seen how locker rooms work, how chemistry builds and collapses in. She made it clear that Indiana isn't functioning as a cohesive unit. She also emphasized that leadership is missing. On most winning teams, there's someone who steps up to bring the group together, especially when things get tough. But according to Sophie, that leader hasn't emerged yet in Indiana. And without someone stepping up, the risk is that Caitlin Clark could be left to carry a burden far heavier than just her rookie responsibilities. There's another layer to all this that can't be ignored. Jealousy. Caitlin Clark didn't just walk into the WNBA, she exploded into it. From massive endorsement deals to being the face of highlight reels and national commercials. She became the center of attention overnight. And for players who've been grinding for years without similar recognition, that can sting. It's an uncomfortable truth, but it's one that Sophie hinted at as well. She said there's a sense among some players that Clark hasn't earned her stripes yet, that she hasn't paid her dues in the league. But instead of using that as motivation to elevate the team, some have chosen to keep their distance, and the impact of that decision is showing on the court. The Fever have struggled to find rhythm. At times, their offense seems disjointed. Players appear hesitant to pass, rotate, or move off the ball when Caitlin has it in her hands. That's not just bad basketball, it's a symptom of a deeper issue, and now we know why. If the locker room isn't aligned, it's impossible for the team to perform at its peak. Still, this isn't about villainizing any one player. It's about a team that has failed to adapt to the pressure of the spotlight. And unfortunately, the one person who brought that spotlight, Caitlin Clark, is the same person being left to deal with its weight by herself. suggest that this is a team that needs to take a long, hard look in the mirror. Because if they continue to let personal feelings and internal rifts define the season, they're not just wasting potential, they're risking long-term damage to their culture and to the growth of their young star. Let's not forget Caitlin Clark isn't just a rookie, she's a once-in-a-generation talent. Her presence in the league has already helped bring in millions of new fans, elevated the entire WNBA's visibility, and changed the way people talk about women's sports. If a franchise can't protect and support a player like that, what message does it send to the rest of the league, or to the next generation of talent watching from home? Sophie Cunningham made it clear that this can't continue. Her decision to speak up wasn't just bold, it was necessary. She's seen enough to know that silence helps no one, and that sometimes the only way to fix a broken system is to first acknowledge that it's broken. Her comments have sparked conversations not just in Indiana, but across the WNBA, because what's happening in that locker room is a cautionary tale for every team in the league. Now the ball is in the Fever's court. Will the veterans rise to the occasion and become the leaders they're supposed to be? Will the coaching staff step in and create a culture where everyone feels included and respected? And perhaps most importantly, will they start supporting Caitlin Clark, not just because she's their star, but because she's their teammate? If they don't, the situation could spiral. Caitlin is tough, no doubt, but even the strongest players need support. No one wins in this league alone. And if the Fever can't figure that out soon, they risk losing more than just games. They risk losing the very foundation of what could be a franchise-altering future. In the end, Sophie Cunningham's truth-telling might just be the wake-up call Indiana desperately needed. Whether the team listens or not, that's what fans in the whole basketball world will be watching next.